Well, that worked. So here we go. The second part of working with the animals. Once again, we have a pretty full house. I don't know what we have tonight. We've got 11 or 12 people here. We've got about 25 plus or minus in the online groups. Pardon me, on the phone connected groups, I should say. So it's a good number of people. It flowed really well last time. I was very nervous last time. We had 47 people last time. Yeah, I've done a lot of these things, and it's rare to get that number. But it all worked well, so I feel less stressed tonight. It'll work. Okay. So the Youth Council wants to thank everybody for again inviting them. Again, I paraphrase quite a bit. It's just, it flows better. And they're really, not only enjoying but learning from being this youth council and working with us. So they're thanking everybody here for allowing for that participation. And I would almost turn that around and throw it back at them. We're thrilled you're doing that. I mean, one of the big reasons we do these, at least for me, I talk for myself, obviously, is so that the young people can just get a sense of it, and where it's helpful, they can take over when the time's right. So yeah, we're really we're very gratified you're doing that, and we're glad you're on there.
And
Graham,
we learned as much from you as you learned from us, truthfully.
no, that's not true. We learned a lot more. At least I did. I always, I've taught it mostly at all levels. I think I honestly have always learned more than those in front of me. And it makes sense because you're one person there. There are X number out there. Why wouldn't you? The different levels maybe in different degrees. But so I say that with a bit of a smile, but I kind of mean it too. And Grandmother Jan, they're happy to be. Oh, they had another Zoom call between the two groups. So again,
That is great.
yep. Boy, I'm telling you, you folks. Tom joined them this time. That's great too. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, you all are doing exactly what we're talking about. So, wow, it's it makes it much easier to do what we have to get these things on. Okay. Jerry, we also do have, from both groups, at least one story tonight, if not more. You're under orders of the Youth Council.
All right, gotcha.
Okay, who would like to open? Do we have anyone who would like to open? Prayer, some thoughts, a word, whatever. Okay, everybody can put your hands down. Oh, would you like to take it or would you like me to take it?
Go ahead and take it.
Okay. Hiawatha Tecumseh, Great Spirit, Great Mystery, God, Universe, Ancestors, Father Sky, Mother Earth, thank you once again for giving us this sacred space to share across the generations. And for tonight's program, as last week, to also share across species as we bring in all of our animal relatives to this as well, and we welcome in their spirit, their connections. Thank you once again for giving us this platform and for allowing it to grow. And for all those who are sharing out these programs, because that's what we're doing it for. We do this not for ourselves, but to help to rebuild the sacred hoop, since it is broken. And ancestors of the four directions, the beginning in the east, the building in the south, the teaching in the west, and the old ones up in the north. Thank you for being here again. Please guide our words, guide our thoughts, guide our energies. Please particularly stand behind the Youth Council as they interact with us in a good way. Father Sky, Mother Earth, I thank you for me, as I always do, my longest connection, the Mother. We thank you for your patience and your tolerance. And please continue. Do not give up on us. We humans are a bit slow at learning, but we are learning. And so with that, yes, we open the circle, and it is here to begin. And we welcome Christopher from Down Under. Good timing. Okay, there's been a lot going on around this topic. I've been hearing a lot, which is really nice, and it's been triggering some additional thoughts. We did the solstice. I couldn't think of the word for a minute. We did the solstice the other day. It was really powerful, but it was very different than the global drum circles we've done in the past. It was less visible. It was in some ways lower key, in other ways a higher energy. So as we did that, many of the groups were saying the animals were around their circles, which I found really interesting. There was another fire. There were several fires going. Jerry had the lead fire up there in Oregon. There was another fire at the mouth of the Klamath, where the salmon run. And as they were getting that fire ready, a large sea turtle came up on the beach and came not too far from them. So it was bringing in the turtle energy, which is important right now. I'll bet there's stories around turtles. Oh, I digress, sorry. Yeah, I know some of them too, but yeah. And he sat there for quite a period of time and then turned and went back to the water. So that was pretty powerful. Where we were here, I did some prayers and ceremonies at my 11:11, but I was having connection problems, so I couldn't open a stream. However, at 5, we went over to a friend's, and the coyotes were howling over there as well. So animals have been part of it. Other groups said the same. And so that's just opening us up to some thoughts. We'll see where it goes today. That's all I got, Jerry.
Okay, so I'll begin with the story. So, I know we're talking about animals, but this is a story they gave me, and I've learned not to say no to them. There will be animal stories, though. I promise you that. This story is the story of the boy with no name. One day, a boy found himself walking along a path. It was as if he had suddenly awakened. He didn't know where this path was. He didn't know where he had come from or where this path led, but he kept walking. He knew he was supposed to follow this path. Eventually, it led him to a village. He didn't know where this was and didn't know who these people were, but he walked into the village. Greatly relieved when people smiled and greeted him in a friendly manner. One man looked at him for a long moment and then took him to the lodge of an old woman. She was sitting outside her door, cleaning some medicines and bundling others. He sat near her feet. She continued to work. When she was finished, she greeted him, and she asked him many questions. Why are you here? I don't know. Where are you from? I don't know. Who are you? I don't know. The old woman looked at him for a long while and then smiled. I will call you Pt.2. In my language, that means I don't know. The boy said that was fine. And so this young boy who did not know who he was came to live in the lodge of the wise old woman. She gave him a place to sleep and good blankets. She fed him well, but she did little else. He wandered about the village, watching, exploring. And after a time, the old woman called him and sat him down by the fire. She could see that he had not found any answers. So she took out a long pouch and offered it to him. There was a long strip attached so that it could hang it around his neck, so the pouch would be at his center. Take this and keep this with you at all times. Inside this pouch, there is a sacred stone. When you learn to pray to it properly, it will take you where you can find answers to all your questions. The boy was happy indeed. He thanked her and ran from the lodge. He went out of the village and wandered about. He held the pouch tightly to his chest in his left hand, praying hard. After a time, he got tired and was hot, and so he sat down in the shade of a huge grandfather tree. He sat there praying and wanting to know who he was. Like all the standing people, this grandfather tree understood the boy's thoughts and words. And this was at a time when we could still understand them too. And so he spoke to the boy. Perhaps you would like to be like me. The boy thought of that. He thought that would be wonderful. To be a tree like this, standing tall and proud, looking over the people and the land. Oh yes, that would be great indeed. With these words, a change began to occur. The boy's toes turned to roots and began to grow into the ground. His skin changed to bark, and his arms changed to limbs. He quickly was transformed into a small grandfather tree. He was very delighted with this transformation. This is something indeed, he said. I will stand here tall and proud. Any may take shelter in my shade. Birds can visit and make their home in my arms. I can watch the people and see over the land. Yes, this is wonderful. I will stand here forever. Never will I be able to run and play like when I was a boy. These thoughts were a sudden awakening for him. That's it. That's who I am. I'm a boy just starting out on my path. With that realization, the transformation began to reverse, and soon he was a boy again. He raced home to the lodge of the old woman. He saw right away that something had happened. Do you know now who you are? Yes, I am a boy. The old woman smiled and nodded. And where did this knowing come from? He clutched. It came from behind where the pouch lies. It came from inside me. Yes, you went within. And it is there that you will find the answers to all your questions. And it is there that you are known. This was the story of the boy with no name. Now, you youth are amazing and wonderful. I've watched you find out who you are. We've watched you find your voice. We've watched you find your courage to form this council and to work with the elders. You know who you are. You know what you want to see in the world, and you're putting it there. And that is amazing and wonderful. And I thank you so much. Never stop listening to your spirit. Never stop trusting it. Keep being who you are, because you kids are wonderful. You're our future, and you're showing the trust that we place in you to be our future. You formed this council. Last time you brought in that little one, made her an honorary council member. Do you know how proud that made her mom and how happy it made that little girl? She hadn't stopped talking about it since. You did that. You brought something wonderful to that little child. Tim is right. You teach us way more than we teach you. Remember that. You have all these answers within you. You look around you and you see what's missing in the world. And the answer to that was to form this council. That's amazing. I thank you. Talking stick in the middle.
Okay, that was awesome. And so, from our council, and you guys are right. So they're saying we teach each other. It's not a contest, and absolutely right. And that definitely was not what I meant. So thank you for making it clear. It's not a contest. I was just saying from my experience, I've always felt like I've walked away from my teaching assignments learning more than I shared. And that's good, because then everybody on both sides of the equation learns something. And now here's one for you, Jerry. They're thanking you. They love that story. It was great, but they want you to understand it was a really good animal story. Because after all, we're not the animals with two legs in it. So good point, guys. You're right. We are one of the animals. And
See,
yeah.
once again, you teach us.
Yep. Yep, we got a 1-2 there.
That is beautiful.
Uh-huh. For sure.
That is, yeah. You always hold the talking stick. You always hold the questioning stick, and you should use it freely. Never take anything we share with you even at face value. Look within, question it. If it feels good, go with your spirit. We're all in
Yeah.
this together. We're all learning and growing together. And your questions to us and your direct, just calling us on the carpet and correcting us. Hey, that's great. Keep doing that.
Yeah.
Please.
And they want us to know that they are doing this with a smile. We got that. Believe me, we understand. It's
Yeah, we do get it.
it's perfect because it brings up good discussion points when we do it that way. And we have to remember different people hear things different ways as well. So that's really there's so many different learning styles. I know when I taught especially in the beginning, I would be finished and wow, that really went well. And then I got all these people coming to me and saying, what the hell were you talking about? Because I had not addressed, see any teachers in the group, I see they're just nodding. I hadn't addressed all the different learning styles. So yes, thank you for that. We also have Mr. Chris here tonight from Down Under, who is a sometimes host when he can make it. Chris, did you have anything you wanted to put in the beginning? Turn on your mic.
There we are. That's better. This is part of what your story brought up for me, Jerry. This one thing I've learned. Learning to listen to nature and ourselves is important, but especially the self, because we need to know who is listening. If we don't know ourselves, then we don't know who is listening to the story or to the spirits or to the guidance or to the mother. So, yeah, that's all I have to add. Talking stick in the middle.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'm going to... I was waiting to see from them, and they're whatever we think is best on what follows what. They're open to any of it. One thing maybe I'll throw out here, if I may, before we jump into that, and then we'll let Jerry decide, because he's the one going to present the material. I've been getting a whole lot of people come in our group, our Gathering of Eagles group, but also in a lot of the other groups that I facilitate. And a lot of questions around this being holiday time. And again, with a call that I went on this afternoon, where's the spirit? Everybody's like, we don't see that kind of spirit we've seen before. What's going on? Why is it? So there's been some good discussions around that. And it's part of what I'm gathering from different people and trying to put it together into a sensible feeling. I almost said thought, no, feeling. Is why is that? There's a lot going on. There's a lot of changes we're making. And part of it, I think, is just that. There's a movie out there, a documentary. It just came out. Some of you may have watched it. If an owl calls your name. It is really incredible. You can find it online. They ask for a donation. It can be whatever you have, and then you can watch it. Anybody who really wants more in these things we're talking about, I would really suggest it. It's about an hour and a half long. It's 3 nations in Canada, and sorry, I can't remember the names right now. I'm not up on my tribes in Canada. So about the first half of it, a lot of elders are involved. Some of them you'll probably know, they're well known. And it's about the boarding schools and all the atrocities around that, including pedophilia. I mean, it's hard to watch. It really is. I've been through some of those issues and involved, and it's hard to watch. Excellent, really well done. In the middle, it shifts, and the native people talking are younger, and they come in and they're shifted it to working with nature and working with the animals to heal all the people, not just the native, but all the people. And in this case, certainly to heal this trauma from an intergenerational trauma that's going on. And I went, wow, exactly what I've been thinking a lot. Chris and I have worked on a lot. So if you have a few bucks, really, if you can, watch that movie. You'll be glad you did. That shift was like from this hard, heavy material to watch and absorb to wham, here is a way around it. And yeah, just remembering, all these animals, all the trees, everything, they're all relatives. And I know a lot of people don't know that. A lot of us probably do. We've walked in it. So I just put that out there for whatever it's worth. I'm thinking of an event in January, sympathy and love event, but maybe we'll do that on another show. I see it. Oh, Christopher, your hand's up.
Okay, yeah. With learning where to listen to, there's a meditation I do. But if we want to sometime, we can book that in. I can do the basics in about 7 to 10 minutes. And it teaches us to go through different aspects of our awareness and consciousness and what each aspect listens to. And usually it's, yeah, I've found it reasonably effective in the past so far. But it's learning to sit down and sit with our own breath, sit with our own rhythm, and then feel the rhythms of nature. Every tree, every animal has its own rhythm, like the breath, like the heartbeat. And when we start to learn to listen to these rhythms, we pick up on the spirit of the animal and the life of it. Sometimes just sitting in nature, feeling how alive it is, we become part of that aliveness. And if we want to feel aliveness, the best place to feel it is hold your breath until you can't hold it any longer. And feel how rejuvenating that first breath you take in is. And that's the life moving in our body. So, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll walking stick in the middle.
Okay, perfect. And yeah, so so from the grandmothers, a great reminder, can we work with this more in the future? Mother Earth is the mother to all of us. Yeah, all creatures, not just we humans. Okay, yeah, absolutely. And yes, we can work with this more, for sure. I'm sure it'll come up more, so thank you for that. Grandmother Jan, thank you, and all the others around your circle tonight. Okay, and there was no question there, just the comment. So with that, Jerry, what are you thinking? Is this a good spot?
I think it is.
Yeah, I do too. Okay.
So the animals are one of our greatest teachers. And I refer to a story that I know the youth of Hope heard me tell at least twice, that if I remember correctly, and I've referred to it several other times. So this happened a long time ago, shortly after the people had ended the Great Migration. And yes, this is a Hopi story. But during this time, all the people were present, all the tribes that we know today. These were the descendants, or the ancestors of those tribes. So there was among the people at that time 4 old ones who would spend their days together with each other. They had no responsibilities, for one was blind, one was crippled, one was deaf, and there was one who was very forgetful. Their families cared for them, and they had nothing to do, so they would come together each day. They would sit together and enjoy each other's company. And so we're sitting together in this friendly manner one day when suddenly something incredible happened. The sun began to go dark. Now, the people had never seen an eclipse before, so they were frightened. They didn't know what was happening. It had been a clear, warm day with the sun hanging high in the sky. Suddenly it began to disappear and the world began to grow dark in the middle of the day when it was supposed to be at its brightest. There was panic, of course. People were running about, some were crying and screaming, but the four old ones just sat quietly. Soon the sun disappeared. The world grew dark like the middle of the night, even though it was supposed to be the brightest part of the day. The old ones sat calmly and remained with each other. You could still hear people crying and whimpering and running about in fear, but the old ones continued to sit calmly with each other. After a short time, the sun began to reappear. That first bright glimmer of light reached down and it touched the old ones. It was like a warm hand reaching out to them. And in their mind, they heard a voice speaking to them. Suddenly, they were taken to a place they could never have imagined, beyond belief. It was a place of perfection. They could see all that was going on in the world. They could see what had happened in the past. And they could see things that had not yet happened. The voice continued to speak to them. It revealed many things to them. It explained to them just who they were and their responsibilities for this world. It gave them all the teachings and wisdoms. And it explained these back, and they would be responsible for taking these to the people, for keeping them and passing them on. But they were told that they would have help. They were told that all truth dwelt in nature. For everything, there was a living example of that lesson in nature. This would help them in their new responsibilities, and they were told that they would be called elders. Suddenly, the old ones found themselves sitting in the village again. The sun shone warmly on them. Their infirmities were gone. They had all been healed. The people saw this and knew that something wonderful had happened. When they spoke, the people realized that something great had happened indeed, and the old ones were no longer ignored. The people came to them to learn, to hear the lessons of life, stories, and many other things. They were called elders, and they were revered for their wisdom and help. And so it was in this way that the first elders came to be. Now, reason I share that, because of that deep truth that's in there, that Creator told them that they would have help, that if they forgot anything that they were given, all they needed to do was look around them, for all truth dwelt in nature. Each animal was a living example of one of these teachings. And that brings me to this wheel of truth we have behind me. I didn't have time. It was quite busy the last couple of days with ceremonies and different things. I had wanted to, I will post this this ways of perceiving on the Gathering of Eagles webpage so that you can take that, you can download it, and you can make a copy for yourself. But you can pretty much see all of the elements. These ways of perceiving. You can't see so the beginning animal is horse, next one is eagle, mouse, corn, wildcat, bobcat, lynx, and so on as it goes around. Each one of those animals embody those things. And I'm going to start with one of my favorites, actually, to tell you the truth. I'm going to start with the east and the eagle. So, and it says desire there. Now, it seems odd, right? That eagle would represent desire. But that's because most people today have a one-sided understanding of desire. To most people, desire is just something that's generated from their minds, from their self-talk. Desire in that aspect is only physical, only personal. Our desires are for ourself and our physical being with that way of thinking. I want, I wish, I need. I need money to be comfortable. I need this in my home so I can relax and enjoy my life. I need all these things, and so on and so forth. It all comes from what we tell ourselves, what we need for our personal comfort. Desire, like I said, for most, is an emotion, right? However, ego is not driven by emotion. It has no hatred or any feeling about the rabbit it is hunting, or the fish it is about to snatch from the water. Ego is driven by its own original instructions, so that it can fulfill its spiritual responsibilities. It acts on the desires of its spirit that is within it. It's not disturbed with thoughts that self-talk and what it tells itself, which so often distracts us human beings. Ego's physical being acts objectively, not subjectively, not based on what it thinks it should do, based on past experiences, what it should, how it should be, based on what others people think of it, and how it should act. Ego follows the guidance from the spirit, follows those original instructions that come from our spirit that Creator has placed within every one of us, that deep knowing. Now, as human beings, we can't turn off our mind or our self-talk, but we can learn to control it. We have to try to look through ego's eyes. If we can, then we see that what our spirit desires, we can see that it's the fulfillment of our original instructions and our responsibilities in this life. People like to put things in order. So we should take another lesson from the fact that the ways of perceiving this circle begins with ego. It begins with east, sunrise, birth, new beginnings. And so we see that this journey begins with this. Every journey in circle begins here, begins with the guidance of our spirit, what to do as we begin our journey. If we follow that guidance, we won't ever be steered wrong. So without the beginning, we can't understand all these perceptions or see the interrelationship of them. Now, every one of these ways of perceiving, they say that we each come into the world with one of these beginning gifts. For those who are in a position of leadership, we those 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 people must learn to have all of these things within them: focus, desire, balance, analysis, love. And it doesn't mean physical love, it means unconditional love for all things, all life. Look at the trees, upright thinking. Buffalo is search for wisdom. The mountain goat, the sheep, the ram is being. The fish is spiritual growth. And an obvious one is the wolf, cooperation. If you've ever seen a wolf pack hunt, and if you've ever seen, they work as one unit. Without that cooperation and that trust for each other, they wouldn't be able to survive. Deer represents service, represents sacred service, to be of service to all life. Deer is a prey animal. It lives its life not for itself, but so that others may live. So how does that translate to human beings? Those who walk the path of wisdom keeper, elder, ceremony leader. Their life is not their own. Their life must be dictated on what Spirit tells them the people need. They've put aside their own desires and their own wants to follow a higher calling, to be of service to the people and to all life, all of our relatives. So I'll stop for now, and I'll see if there's any questions. If you want to just learn about one of these aspects, or if you want to share that in your ways, in your tribe, an animal that represents a certain thing to you that you know about, or you can ask me, and we can understand together what certain animals have to tell us, have to teach us. Grandmother?
Good start.
I was sitting with Fool's Crow, with Grandpa Ketches once. Grandpa Ketches' helpers was the crow. And the crow would come in and sit on his shoulder He'd talk to the crow and then he'd tell me what the crow said. And he said, these crows have emotions like we do. And they gossip. So funny. Those crows gossip. And sometimes they tell me who's coming. And of course, when it was time to go, he heard them coming way before I did because the crows flew in and landed on his shoulders. But he told me something else about the crows. He said, you know, the crow is the only one that attacks the eagle and tries to bring it down. And the message there is that the eagle just flies higher. So the message for us is when anyone attacks us, or if we have challenges, to just fly above that energy with the eagle. You can observe from the crow's point of view, but go up. The other thing that Grandma Cretches told me was put the books away. Go out and watch the animals. See what they do. Watch them. And then they will show you their medicine because she says sometimes people get it wrong. So watch them, you know, and that's the way you learn. The other thing she said to me was, I was walking across the grass and she said to me, did you ask that grass permission before you walked on it? She says it isn't just the sage and the sweet grass and the herbs and the food. She says that grass is a living plant also. And that grass and every rock, you know. So when we have gravel in our driveway, and I thank it because that gravel came from a bigger rock. And the rocks, they carry the wisdom. They carry the secret. So when we say we're all one and they're all our brothers and sisters, it doesn't give you the privilege of selecting out just the animals, but also every living thing, even the water, which we don't consider living, but it is. So I got scolded a couple times for walking without asking permission. And when you take those herbs or you talk to those animals, ask permission first. You know, ask permission. You know, say to that plant, take some of your. Do I have permission to talk to you? No, not, oh, there's an eagle, he's giving me a message. Not what you ask first. No, it's all about respect. It's all about understanding that nothing is halfway. So when you say we are all one, there's no one left out. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, grandmother. That's a really important lesson too, and it's all things have energy. And she mentioned the rock. Rocks, you know, I don't remember the exact numbers, but rocks move too, just like all creatures. If you came back in, I forget what it is, 20,000 years, you'll find that a rock has moved X number of inches. They've proven that scientifically, which is not my way to go, but I'm sure there's truth to that. So it's so slow, none of us would ever get it. However, there's energy, and energy is always in motion. I also have a request for everybody. My screen is really full. If you see people come in, I may not be able to see, so let me know. I see this person. I missed somebody earlier, which I apologize. Okay. Chris is back. So, Christopher, I saw your hand up earlier, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the hills and rocks moving. I live amongst mountains, and one of our mountain ranges here rises by 15 millimeters every year. So the mountains are like the breath. They rise and then they fall because erosion takes the top of the mountain away. Places that used to be seabeds are now up on top of mountains, and what used to be mountains is now down by shorelines and on the plains. Everything is constantly moving, and I always see this as the breath of the mother. She shifts and moves the same as we do, and she breathes and moves. So, yeah, it's my offering. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And as everybody's multiple have said, Mitakuye, all my relations, does not just refer to two-leggeds, for sure. We're actually in the minority if you look at the world. There's a lot more of most creatures than there are of us. Maybe there's too many of us for balance, but we're definitely number-wise in the minority. Here's an interesting little side note that someone sent me online here. Some of you, some of us are older, so you'll know. Mike Love is of the Beach Boys. Does anybody know who Mike Love is? Please, at least one hand. Okay. Whew, bless you. I was really feeling old. Okay, Barbara, yep. Gabrielle, okay, good. So he has seen some of our work and he's seen one of our recordings. And this person wants us to know that he says we're putting out really good vibrations, which was one of their songs 140 years, no, kidding, 40 years ago at least, maybe more. So that's
At
kind
least.
of at least, yeah. So that's pretty interesting. So I'll see if I can reach out and connect. I didn't, though. This would sound horrible. I didn't know he was still around. I mean, so many of our performers are gone, but apparently he's in his 80s and strong. Okay. Oh, okay. So the young people wanted to follow up on what grandmother was saying, asking permission for everything, and of course. Yeah, Pine Ridge I know better than most. So yes, and everyone's trained that way. So yeah, if you walk on the grass, if you're going to pick a plant to eat it, you ask first. Hunting and gathering of food is a whole different experience when you're on the res. It certainly is there, because when I'd go with my family, there's ceremony the day before to ask permission. There's gathering the food so the tribe can live. There's ceremony the day after to give gratitude for that circle of life. And if any human is ever killed in one of those hunts, that is also considered, part of the circle of life. None of it is done, obviously, maliciously or thoughtlessly. So they just wanted to add that because that hit a high note. Okay, that hit them strongly when you were talking about the permissions. So good, once again. Chris, I see your hand up. Anyone else, by the way, questions, comments, just put that hand thingy up so we can see it.
Yeah, please do. It's always lovely to hear from as many of you as possible. One of the things that I've been getting shown lately in the last 2 to 3 weeks very strongly is the mother and the trees I talk to out in front of my house have been showing me how important the insects are to them. The worms that oxygenate the soil and move soil and minerals and things like that. And all the other insects that break down leaf foliage, plant matter, and make it usable for the trees and the plants and the grass. And, as they say to me, even the small of us does the greatest deeds. And often we don't realize the impact of what we're doing, but I'm certainly getting it brought home to me now. Talking stick in the middle.
Thank you, brother. Kai, I think you were next.
Yes, hello everybody.
Hi, Kelly.
Love for all. Jerry, I loved that. That was such a wonderful teaching. And what's standing out to me is, in the beginning when you're saying ego, is that different for desire? We don't normally associate ego with desire. And when I was reflecting on that, I was thinking about the wonderful part about how Creator writes the instructions in our heart, and to listen to that and fulfilling that is the most satisfying. Uh, and I think about chocolate, like chocolate that's not ethically sourced, that's not from good waters, like made by Nestle in bad ways with emulsifiers, never seems to hit that spot as like a indigenous based chocolate. So that's how I know that's a strange comparison, but that's how I started thinking of it. Like that fulfilling of the desire is the most wonderful thing, could be most satisfying. So that's how it's tied to desire. And last but not least, when we bring up animals here, I just want to share with the Council of the Youth, I got to, talk to a service dog today when I was passing out books. The county is giving all kinds of foods and dog foods, like people food, animal food to people in need. And I was passing out books and toys, and I got to talk to the service dog for the police. This delightful animal shared its love and joy. And I found out that it's a golden doodle, helped the police to relax so they could do more of the ethical choices in life, of the good things. We hear about service dogs for the people, but what about service dogs for people that are put in escalated situations? So this delightful dog just wrapped itself around me, and I had sent a message of my poodles jumping. They do this special jump, and the dog did that. My new friend did that, like saw the picture in my head and jumped just like I jump like that with my dogs, like we all do that. Did it. It's a special kind of jump. So I just wanted to share that when we do listen with an open heart and mind, wonderful things happen. Like that to me, I was like, oh, there's my Christmas present. Like, ah. So anyway, love you all.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Kai.
Sky. Yeah, that was really a. Oh boy. All right. Wow. Can I take a minute with that piece? So, the animals of that sort. I lost one of my dog family on my birthday, November 11th. We'd been together 16 and a half years. She was a rescue from Pine Ridge. A beautiful healing dog. I would take her all the time into senior centers, into youth centers, into some place where there were youth at risk. And her body just couldn't last much longer. So when she left, I was really upset. Any of you who walk with animals know it's just as hard as if you lose a human, in my experience. Of course, I talk for me. It's a whole long story I'll share later. Some of it I have actually in our group. And I'm going to put more because I want to start her name was Crystal, a Crystal's Legacy. There's so many animals out there that need help, not just we humans. And so I want to try to provide more than I've been able to by myself. But another dog appeared, was also rescued from a res, actually from Dene land, and I was asked to take care of. And when they found her with this collar, this beat up collar around her, she'd been hit by a car, she had lice and ticks all over her, she was half starved, and the name on the collar was Crystal. So she's here now. So, hadn't meant to talk about this. That whole cycle of life is critical as well. We really need to heal now with all the species together. If we're just doing humans, nope, it ain't going to work. They are just as sacred as we are. I forget who was saying that. I think it was grandmother, I'm not sure. But just as sacred, just as important. It's all part of the circle. So thank you for that, for bringing that in, Kai. That's such a big piece. Gabrielle, I think your hand's up.
Yeah, I was reminded on an episode that I had when I first started working with horses. And I had purchased this horse that was a throwaway. She was living by herself, so to speak, for a year and a half. So she was pretty wild when she came to our farm. And as soon as I got the lead rope, she reared up. And all I could do was hold on to the lead rope and say, oh my God, oh my God. So needless to say, we was launching and she was running like crazy. So the instructor told me to put the hand with the lead rope on top of my head, close my eyes, and breathe. And after a couple of rounds that she did, he said, open your eyes and look at your horse. And she was walking. And that taught me how our frequency actually transfers to the animals. And I think that was one tremendous lesson for me at the start of working with horses. So basically, the moral of the story is that the more you're in control of yourself, the more you'll be able to help animals.
Absolutely right. And I think that also holds true. Same principle we were talking about, Jerry and I, earlier. When you're teaching, you learn this. It goes both ways. Because I watch the animals who I've never owned a pet, ever. I have animals that have agreed to walk with me and be part of my family. You can see when they're getting from you and when they're not, and when you adjust, and vice versa. So yeah, I think it's a beautiful. And horses are also special. I did a gala training some time back to help, use horses for emotional issues. And boy, they're also, but all animals are incredible, not just humans. Jerry, I don't know. Yeah, sorry.
I said we have a tug of war with a Yorkie here, so
Ah,
they they
uh-huh.
easily sport.
Yeah. I've had friends who had Yorkies. I have a huge Labradoodle. He's 95 pounds. And this new rescue dog. They're the ones who have agreed right now to tolerate me. I mean, to be with me. Jerry, is it time for the next? Yeah, perfect.
So one thing I want to say about this wheel means that we're so supposed to look within ourselves first, always. You might have heard me say that a couple dozen times by now. Everything begins within. So we're supposed to look at ourselves and see what is missing within ourselves if we're out of balance. Which of these qualities? And then you can take and you can look at the animals and you can see, okay, if love is missing, for example, or empathy with action, if I'm snapping at people and reacting and coming out with my words without thinking of the impact of on others, then that's missing. What must I do? First, these animals that embody these things, I can ask them for help. I can ask them for guidance. I can ask them to help me understand how you embody this so I may learn how to have this once again within my life. But my elders were always very adamant to say that, so many people in these ways, we come to these ways. What can we get from these ways? How can these ways help us? What can I get that'll help make me a better person? It's all about wanting, about taking. What about giving? What about giving to the animals? What about even thinking of them in a positive way and thanking them for the gifts they give us just simply by being alive? The trees and the mountains and the waters and the animals. How often when you see an animal, it's a great gift. You see a deer walk across your path and you're like, oh my God, it's so big, so amazing, so beautiful. The thing that we're supposed to take from nature, as far as learning is concerned, is it's great to see things and what is the medicine of this animal? What is the medicine of that animal? But if we look at nature as a whole, all of the animals work together. There's a balance and a unity. And that's something as humans we've forgotten. Work together with all life. The animals, if something happens, they adjust to the environment. They don't try to change the environment to suit them. As humans, we've come way too far on that path to see everything as a commodity rather than as a brother and sister, to see the animals as our elder brothers and sisters. They were here before us. Of all the animals, we're the only ones that seem to have forgotten to follow our original instructions, to live in harmony and peace with all life. We just have to learn from them. They are our elders. They do everything out of love for all life. They follow their instructions because they know it sustains all of us to live by that guidance of our spirit. That's one of the greatest lessons I've gotten from them. Talking to stick in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. And comment here. Also, this also balances because the animals are looking at themselves to see what they need from us as well, and to give to us. Oh, to give to us and understand what they need from us. And yeah, that's the whole balance. And yes, we humans are out of balance. For my advanced degrees, I was in natural resources. And one of the first things I really learned was you can't, resource management was a big part of that. Every time we try to manage too much, we make mistakes. If we watch the animals, they do self-regulating, self-managing. They understand, okay, there's too many of us now, or we need more of us now, or we have to go this way or that way. And if we watch them, we can learn those things quickly again, I think. I don't think it'll take much because it's there. It's just been buried so deep for so many. When I see people, and Tom mentioned this, Tom and I know each other for years, and he knows I've walked as a wolf since I was given the name, oh God, longer ago than I want to remember now, and worked in a lot of wolf projects. And it's very hard for me not to get angry when I see what happens to the wolves. But I understand that's part of the story. It's just like we've done to humans, we continue to do to animals. Those are the things that need to drastically change in my mind. And part of learning is by what Jerry's presenting. It's an amazing tool. I've spent more time than Jerry even realizes since he first gifted me with the understanding. Another piece, though, around that, Jerry, where I had Paul and Chris again, animals vary. And you were talking about eagle being in the east. For them, eagle is in the west. It's a teacher. Yeah, it's really important, in my understanding, and Jerry may have a little different. These things shift and change. And it's not about where they are so much as what they're teaching. There's other parts of the world. I've spent a lot of time in Central and South America where the condor is the equivalent of the eagle. Condor is almost always in the north down there. But again, it doesn't matter. He's an elder. But it's what is he bringing to the circle? I think that's really important. Would you agree with that, or is there another?
I agree completely, and I thank you. That's why I asked for you to share what the animals mean in your way, because each of the tribes develop a relationship with the animals in their land, and they come from a certain point of view to help you understand based on the things that you have around you. That relationship is special and unique to every tribe's perception on what the eagle gives is right. It's right for each individual. And you may have an eagle come tell you that this is what I'm here to give you. You go by the spirit, you go by the communication, you go by that sacred relationship. This is just one way, one view of the way that the animals represent and teach us lessons. This is just the beginning. You were to take what you're given, what your ancestors and your elders have held on to, that deep, beautiful knowledge of the relationship with those animals. Learn from them. And I guarantee if we were to sit and talk and share notes, it'd be a beautiful story that wove together, and there would be no disagreements. It would only be wonder and awe. at the beauty and power of nature and the beautiful gift that they give us by just being themselves. So yes, I agree. In your ways, the eagle sits in the west and is a teacher. I thank you so much for.
I think it's really important as we're all coming together and combining our wisdom that we remember that, yeah, these things shift a little. It's the spirit of it that's really important. And they're saying thank you. They thought that was the case. They want it to be clear. And they're thinking of Tatanka, the buffalo. For them, not just the white buffalo is in the north, but all buffalo are in the north, which makes sense. The buffalo, that was their land. And they're bringing back up as well. Okay. They know I say it a lot when I teach First Nations. The animals are the actual First Nations. They were all here long before us. So I say that with respect. No disrespect to any two-leggeds, but they were here first. So if we really want to get technical, they're First Nations. All of us are Second Nations. We're actually all immigrants, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. Okay. Chris, you got something to bring in before we...
Yeah, I'm just a quick description because I just missed a wee bit because I had to attend to something. But I remember conversations Jim and I had about the wolves and what benefit was coming from them being introduced back to Yellowstone and now into other areas. And I've seen reports recently about buffaloes and beavers and the benefits to the environment and how the environment is being restored by these animals being brought back in. And that's the ones we know about. Imagine if we brought all animals back in balance, what benefit could be gained. And I love how the mother is showing us, with my children present, this is how I benefit. This is how the environment, how the mother, the earth benefits. And I often find when I'm listening to her, sometimes she gives me instructions that I don't always understand. And they always turn out right. Benefit comes from it from one form or another. So if you ever feel you're getting something instinctually and you don't understand it, do have a faith in your instincts. That's instincts to me are our inner knowing. And that inner knowing has a reason it's there and it has a purpose. So paying attention is really worthwhile. Because I know, Jerry, you've talked about what you're feeling drawn to do today a few times. So, yeah, thank you, everybody. Talking stick in the middle.
Thank you, Chris, for bringing the Down Under in. Hey, Jerry, so I don't know if it's time for some more, but a quick question, and it's a good one. I hadn't thought of this before, but the medicine wheel. They're curious if there's anything you want to share, any differences or sames. Oh, I guess how the medicine wheel relates to what you're teaching, or if it does at all. I think that's the gist of.
Oh yes, it relates very well. So the same thing, no matter what tribe you're from. The East, represents new beginnings. The differences of the relationship in the Hopi way, the buffalo is also in the Hopi way. The buffalo is the guardian, the white buffalo, but the Buffalo Nation is the guardian of the North. So in that way, there's another way that similarities. You've never seen a war over religion, over spirituality and spiritual aspects being fought on this Turtle Island, on all of the Americas. We didn't believe in that. Each person's understanding and how they interact with life, with nature, is personal and sacred, and it's no one person's right to say this is how you must look at this animal. This is how you must look at these. These are all just I'm sharing from the Hopi perspective, and I encouraged it, and I'm so grateful you mentioned about the eagle and sitting in the west, because yes, and the medicine wheel, every nation has different colors that designated for different directions, but the teachings remain the same. The springtime represents the east. Summer represents south. Autumn represents west. Winter represents north. That's pretty universal. And I haven't been everywhere. So I welcome others to talk about any differences that may come up, because this circle is complete. A circle is complete by every one of us within it. If I stand in the circle with each of you, and I'm asked to, and I give my perception of what I see when I stand in the circle, my perception is one perception. As we all begin to share what we each see from our perspectives in that circle, we get a greater understanding of the truth. When we look within and follow the guidance of Creator and Spirit, then that understanding is complete. I'm just a simple two-legged human being. I haven't been everywhere. But what I do know is that the beautiful truth that lives within our spirit, that is within the original instructions on how to live, that's been given and written in each soul, that truth shines through. I can go someplace where I don't recognize the ceremony, but the way they do things, that beautiful way of thinking, that is of our people, of all indigenous people, resonates, and I can understand, because it's the same truth. I could go to a Samhain festival, just to pick something from the Celtics, and I can understand, because that basic love and connection to nature and to the natural world is there, and that connection is sacred, and it shows through. That our understandings that we get from nature is the same. Those animals live those things, live those truths, embody them. We should learn from that. If we embodied all embodied love and use that as a way of being, as a state of being, and as a way of thinking, how different would our world be? They say that the dog's a child of the wolf. That dog was created out of love. It was love that created that and changed that wolf to a dog. Love for human beings in that relationship. And look at today. I mean, how can you not see a dog and not see that unconditional love that it gives us completely? So yeah, the medicine wheel has many different things. So I can give you an example. But if you look at the wheel, and you look at the wheel as the different months of the year, you can even turn it into like a zodiac thing. And I guarantee you, I've used it and I've done it, not just for myself, but others. The place where you're born, the different moon that you're born under, I guarantee corresponds exactly with your beginning gifts that correspond with this teaching of the ways of perceiving. And that's your beginning gift. Every one of us has a gift we give that we are born with when we come into this world. And if we learn that gift, then we feel a place of belonging. And nobody can take that away. I'm going to put the talk stick in the middle. I see Pam has her hand up. I would love to
Yeah, before we shift there, let me get to our other facilitators. So they're asking about for connection. What animals are important in other places? I can't talk for a lot. I can talk for, in Central America, the jaguar is always in every medicine wheel I've been at that they uncovered. The jaguar is one of their power animals, comparable to, geez, I don't know what, not buffalo, probably the large wolves that don't, the big dire wolves that used to exist. So they're always there. Some of the birds, the condor is almost always there. But so is one of the parrots, and I can't remember the name, but it doesn't matter. But again, it's not being specific on which animals, I don't think is the critical piece here. You know, what Jerry is saying, it's what are we learning, what are they teaching? And I do like, here's one other quickie, the McCall, thank you, Jenny, thank you. That's exactly correct. That is the parrot. And I saw Kai put up, I'm always fascinated when the circle keeps coming around. She's talking about the red wolves in North Carolina that she watched, thought to be extinct. They're not yet. They're being bred. Yeah, I ran a red wolf recovery program in outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee for 3 years. So interesting the way that shoom comes back. My original name gifted to me was Red Wolf because they didn't know if I was going to make it. I was such a basket case when I started. It changed to Gray Wolf once they thought, okay, he'll make it. But the Red Wolves are a really interesting one. We could do a whole program on that, Kai. No, I'm sorry. Who was next, Jerry? Was it Pam?
It is Pam, I believe.
Hey, I'm not sure if you guys can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yep, we
Yeah.
can hear
We
you
can hear
fine.
you, Pam.
Um, my name's Pam. My spirit name's Northern Wolf Woman, or the wolf who sees from afar. I'm two spirit. I'm a firekeeper in Treaty 13. I'm from Barrie, but I grew up like in a lot of like southern Ontario and Quebec, and the east coast to Newfoundland. Um, my family is French, Nuffield, and Abenaki, Algonquin, and yeah, I was just listening in, and I thought it was really interesting that we were talking about the eagle because I'm an eagle clan, and it's one of like it's one of the some of those teachings that I'm grasping for because I didn't grow up in my community. I reconnected about 17, 18 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. It's been a long time coming. It's a long story. But anyways, the ego teachings that really sit with me the most um, was that that they're not on the ground too long, ever. That they'll swim, and that even when they get to land, they'll fly up. Um, and that I really like that they swim because when I first got it, I was like, I'm not a flyer. I'm actually afraid of heights, like deathly. I will grip onto you like I'm drowning if we're like on top of a rickety Ferris wheel. Um, but in general, um, up here, there it's the messenger of love, and there's stories about like how the eagle flies so high to Creator to like deliver that message of like the last people who are following our good ways. Um, and that like he like in some of the stories he dies and he turns into the Thunderbird. Um, but in general, and I really like the story about where he flies like in peace with the condor to bring peace. Um, but in general, when I think about like all the birds, I think about dinosaurs, and I'm like, oh, that's love is just the oldest teaching, and that's why it comes from the birds because they're just the dinosaurs. Um, and I don't know. I just wanted to share, I guess, a bit of um, myself, and thank you for letting me into your circle. I'm sorry I came late. I've been trying to get to this circle for weeks. I apologize. Um, I'm glad to make it tonight, and I hope that everybody is like enjoying the holiday rush because I flip and hate it. Um, so thank you for bringing me some peace during all the madness out there. Like much.
Thank you for being here, and don't ever apologize for. We come as we can. If we can be here at a certain time, good. If not, when you can come, it's wonderful, and that's for all of us because we're never quite sure what's going on. A quickie from the grandmothers. They're putting me to task, Jerry. They would like me, if at all possible, to upload this show tonight because they're finding it amazing. They're inviting friends over to Grandmother We Know tomorrow so they can all watch the show again. So I will do that even if I have to drink coffee or something. So thank you, Grandmother, and we're very pleased that you're here for one thing, obviously bringing your energy and your wisdom. But that you want to share out what's going on because this is for everybody. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, I thought that should be stated. Jenny, I think you're not. Yeah.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to share something that's been rolling around upstairs about our, like my dog Hanky, and we've talked about our dogs a lot. And I had heard a story that the animal kingdom had gotten together and they were trying to figure out what they wanted to do with these humans because we have become so disconnected from nature and stories and earth, and that they sent us the dog to help keep us connected to those things as a reminder. And so I don't look at my animals as pets either. They're part of my family, but also like definitely keep me connected. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Yes, thanks. That's absolutely right. It's, yeah, they are family. It always have been for me. And I can't tell you how much peace and comfort that's given me in some really hard times that I've gone through. I always knew that part of my family was there, was never judging me, was there for whatever I needed, and that's why I try every way I can to give back. Not because I have to, but because I want to, and I want to balance in it. So thank you. Those was critical words. Here's a quick one from the grandmothers, and then I think I saw a hand again. They were interested to hear about the red wolf. Apparently, they've done work with red wolves up in the Northwest where they are as well. I didn't know they were up there. Well, they used to be up there. Okay. And they're absolutely right. Part of the problem, and this isn't just about red wolves, but in general, the red wolves can crossbreed with dogs. And so that's a real problem. So when you're trying to preserve a species that can easily crossbreed, doesn't matter if they're mixed, doesn't matter if we're mixed. I'm a crossbreed. I don't think it's hurt me. So there's more, Jenny. Yeah, right? So, but it is when you want some representatives of a species to be here. Not much is pure anymore, nor does it need to be. We're trying to be one mother, one tribe, so why not? So thank you, grandmother. I appreciate that. That is a nice point you make. Did I see a hand, Jerry, or am I going
No,
wrong?
but one of the things you guys asked about was different animals in different places. And for example, the raven in north, like Canada, a lot of the tribes, the First Nations up there, they look at the raven as the sacred messenger, just like the eagle. And Pam, if you want to have anything to share with me about on that, that would be great. But for I know very little about the. Go ahead.
Unwatch the Raven.
Yes.
Um, I just know that he used to be like everybody used to be able to see his rainbow. But he went to the sun to get fire for us, and he burned himself to bring it back to us. I also know it to be a trickster, but I don't know. I talk to them all the time. They ain't really trickstery. They like people, and I think it says a lot about like even their relationships with the wolves, because they go hunting together. They help each other. And there's a lot to say about like even the symbiotic relationships between other animals, like like the hippos and the birds. When they're cleaning out the teeth, um, they they have a sense of a need. They have a sense of need, and they follow it instinctively. Um, and I was also taught that in order to in order to gain access to creativity, that we had to lose our purpose. We had to lose our memory of our purpose, and we had to find it again. And that the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, and the mineral kingdom would be not only our teachers, but the ones that we would come to be a purpose for. That nothing here is created for itself. Like like the tree provides the food, and the lumber and the shelter, and the, so like nothing comes for its own self. Everything knows when its life, like even a blade of grass apparently knows when its life is gonna go. So with that being said, like our our forgetfulness, we have to like go back to those animal kingdoms, those plant kingdoms, and those mineral kingdoms, for them to teach us, but then for us to know what our purpose is for them, and that's like those natural laws to take care of the land, um, to not overuse it, and like some of like those great thinkers touched on it, like they did those. I studied it in philosophy. I can't think of it for the life of me. But like when they like, I know you know what I'm talking about, Jim. Please
Yep,
fill.
I do.
Please,
I'm
fill.
sorry. I
I
just
know you
saw
know it.
I just saw the movie with Socrates and Plato. Sorry,
Yes.
Bill and Ted.
Um. So yeah, like I know that like other people know how to take care of our resources,
Yeah,
but the thing is that our our roots, like our people here on Turtle Island knew how to take care of like not only the animals but like the forest in terms of generations ahead of time, and we moved with them. We were never meant to like set up concrete permanent cities, that like drain the earth. And there's teachings even about opening Mother Earth and opening her body to take from within the body, um, and like even turquoise, for example, we didn't find turquoise in our tribes until colonialism happened and they started mining for gold and nickel and silver, and then they would leave the turquoise in like the mounds, and we would form that symbiotic relationship and take care of what needed to be taken care of. And that's really what the raven taught us. It went to the sun and did that for us. um and now because we sit with the fire, we can't see its pretty colors. So I don't know.
that's
That's all
awesome.
I really know about the Raven. I kind of went sideways there, but
No, that's good. That's really
That
good.
was beautiful.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was perfect for right. Yeah, right there, right then. Yeah, I was hearing the somebody mentioned Phoenix earlier. Now there's one. Sometimes there is a little difference in. I was on again today. One of the calls I had today was with some relatives down in Central America, and there the teaching is it's the phoenix that brings the fire and burns everything to ash, so we can then redo it. Which is where we're at. Some say now the ash is getting pretty deep, so I hope that's it. But then it's not the phoenix that goes above. That's Thunderbird. It morphs. Phoenix becomes Thunderbird. Thunderbird is the one that takes the fire, the pain of the fire away, and helps us to build the. But again, it's about energies. So does it matter how we assign it? Maybe not. If it's a jaguar or a wolf or a mountain lion, it's the energy that's important, I think. So, okay, that's all I had on that.
I agree.
This is an excellent.
Anything from the Youth
Thank you all.
Council?
Yeah, I've been watching. They actually reminded me of Thunderbird because I've done that talk for some of them before. Yep, here we go. They would like to be able to do this periodically if allowed. As far as I'm concerned, you guys can do it whenever you want. There's always room to have everybody. This is about the circle, so we hope everybody participates at the level you want. Some like to prefer just to sit and listen and work on it that way. That's fine. Youth Council, if you want to do that, that's awesome. They're thinking of other ways they might work with themselves as a youth council. Yeah, I think, Jerry, our group can certainly support that, right? I mean, they're always
Oh,
welcome
definitely.
to post or, yeah. So whatever comes to you all. They're starting to, okay, no, they're okay now for a while. Okay, that's all for now. They want to listen more. Oh, that came from Tom, sorry.
Jim, do you want to tell a story?
At the moment, probably not, because I'm quite literally looking in 12 directions at once. But
That's right. You're
let me,
multitasking.
yeah, let me breathe a little, and I'll see what comes.
Okay, well, I'm going to share a story. Pam's words about the ravens. I think people look at it as a trickster. Well, here's one. This story is about Coyote Boy, and Coyote has a bad rap. I've shared this parts of this story just I briefly one day at we are the medicine circle. Here's all of you that heard it. Here's the full story. Coyote Boy was living some distance north of Orabi, the oldest of the villages of the Hopi people, in the lodge where his uncle used to live. His uncle had shown him the dump area of the people living in the villages down there, and had shown him there was sometimes food to be found in those areas. But Coyote did not go there. Coyote Boy did not, even though he was very hungry indeed, because he had heard that the Hopis were having a hard time, and that meant there probably wouldn't be any food there. If there was anything at all, the dogs would be getting it during those hard times. So Coyote Boy wanted to go to other places that he hadn't been to before. And he was far up on Black Mesa one night when he heard singing. He knew there was no villages near, no kivas, no hunting lodges. Who could be there singing? He had never heard songs like that one before. He determined to find out who it was that was singing like that. He followed the sound of the voices. He stepped through a thick line of shrubs and found a large opening. There were steep rock walls on both sides. Straight ahead was another high rock formation. There were many boulders at the base, and you could see a bunch of steps that would allow him to climb up there. But he didn't. He hid in thick brush, watching. Halfway up the wall of rock, he could see an opening. There must be a cave up there because he could see light coming from the inside. The singing was coming from in there too. He stayed hidden and he watched and listened. When the singing stopped, a kachina stepped out of the cave and onto the ledge. He seemed to stare right at Coyote Boy. Why have you come here? No one has ever come here before. Well, yes, yes, indeed, said Coyote Boy. I have never been here before. Don't know where I never went before. I'm very hungry, so I am determined to find new places to hunt. I pity you, but we have nothing for you. There is good hunting north of here. Why have you not gone to Arabi or the other villages to look for food? Those Hopis, they were having a rough time indeed. 2 bad years in a row. Their supplies are running out. They are hungry. They need help. We cannot leave this place. We must stay here always. Our responsibility is to remain here and to protect this sacred place. Leave. I can tell the Hopi they can come here. No, none must know of this place. We have much corn, but none may come here. You can tell no one of this thing. A couple of other Kachinas, dressed exactly the same way, emerged from the cave. They threw down a couple of ears of roasted corn for Coyote Boy. Quiet. Thank you, he said. This is good corn indeed. I am a meat eater, though. This, you know, to stay strong and healthy, I must have large amounts of corn to make up for the lack of meat. Well, yes, yes, indeed. This is so. For your silence, we will put out roast corn for you each night after the sun has set, as long as you do not reveal this place to anyone. Coyote Boy quickly agreed to that, for he had already had a plan in mind. He strengthened himself with the corn, and then hurried away. He spent the next day gathering reeds, grass, and bark strips. Then he sought out Spider Grandmother. Tukang Suwuti, Spider Grandmother, you always have the interest of the Hopis in your heart. They are having a difficult time. I have found a way that I may be of help. But I need your advice. He then told her the whole story and told her that he had gathered much material to make some baskets for carrying corn. So each night I will gather the corn they put out for me, and I will drag the basket full of corn near the villages where they will find it in the morning. In this way, they will have food during this difficult time. Spider Grandmother taught him ways to weave the baskets, and Coyote hurried home and worked without stopping at making many, many baskets. He was determined that he would help the people. He carried a basket to the home in the mesa with the Kachina's word. And not long after sundown, they emerged as normal, as they had the first time, each with an armload of roasted corn. As they dropped them, he picked them up one or two at a time and carried them to where he had hidden the basket. He made many trips, but at long last, the difficult task of getting the corn to the village was next. It was hard work. He would grab the rim of the basket and he would drag it as he walked backwards, heavy basket along. He didn't head straight back to the village, though. He dragged the basket to the edge of the toilet area, and that's where he figured it would be seen early in the morning, when the first person went to that area to go to the bathroom to relieve themselves. So the next morning, the people of the village were surprised and puzzled to find a big basket of roasted corn there, but they were well pleased. And they shared the corn with everybody, so everybody had a little. To their surprise, it happened again the next morning, and the next, and the next. Every morning, the people found a big basket of corn waiting for them. Each household set aside their unroasted corn for planting the following spring. They began to have an abundance. Their bellies began to be full instead of empty. There was much discussion about those baskets of corn, however. Everyone wondered where they came from. Who was bringing them? One young man announced that he would find out. He rested all day and prepared to stay up all night. He was determined that he would see who was bringing this gift to the people. He took his blanket and found a spot overlooking the toilet area where the corn had been left each morning. He had a hard time staying awake after a time. He would pinch himself whenever he started to doze off. Finally, in the wee hours of the morning, he saw a creature dragging a large basket. This had to be it. Who was it, though? What was it? The creature paused and turned a bit to look about, to look around, make sure no one was around. The boy saw it then in profile. A wolf? No, it was not much bigger than the village dogs. He was too small to be foolish coyote. The creature returned to dragging the basket, and the boy watched. Because it was heaping with corn. It was indeed a coyote that was dragging it. Not fully grown, though. It had to be Coyote Boy, the nephew of gullible old Coyote. When the basket was in normal position, Coyote Boy glanced around and then raced away. The boy lay down, wrapped his blankets around him, and fell asleep there on the edge of the mesa. He was too tired to go home and get in his bed. When the people awoke and found the corn, they were happy again. They saw the boy sleeping there. Look, he fell asleep and did not even see who it was that brings us this gift of corn. He said he would do this. As they divided the corn up, they put a few ears by his side and then woke him up. He told them the story of how he had managed to stay awake all night long. And then during the purple dawn, he saw who brought the corn. They could hardly believe it. Are you certain of this? Himself. No, indeed. Hello? What happened? No, indeed. There can be no mistake of this. It was Coyote Boy. The people were amazed, and it became the talk of the village. This was something indeed. The baskets of corn continued until the crisis had passed. This was such a thing that the people knew they had to do something. They discussed this many times and asked the village leaders to do something. And so it is that not far from Ismawala, where Coyote used to live, there's a special shrine that has been built and is there to this day in honor of Coyote Boy. So we must remember that in nature there's vast diversity. Animals will change and do what they need to survive, but not only to survive, but to fit and to restore the harmony of nature. There is now bacteria that has been growing, that bacteria that literally eats nuclear waste. Nature made a way. It eats that waste. It gets rid of that waste that poisons us and poisons the earth. Nature found a way to adapt and to survive even the harshest things and terrible things that we do to her. The animals, nature, the waters, the rivers, the mountains, all of nature has that unconditional love. The tricksters are great teachers. Great teachers. We look at them and ridicule them and be aware of them. They continue to teach us what not to do. Coyote teaches us to be aware of our ego and our mind. And look at how we think of Coyote as a trickster. Here's a story where Coyote helped the people in times of great need. Little.
Thank you. That was awesome. Well, another story appeared, but we probably don't have time. I could do a short version if we want, or not. It's up to the circle. Here's where it came in. Because, okay, so the youth council was asking me about a little more about the Phoenix and the Thunderbird. What did I mean? That Phoenix burned down and then Thunderbird went up. And then I saw, of course, that Pam wrote there. I've also been searching for the story about the Thunderbird bringing the rains and the rainbow. And there's a lot of stories about Thunderbird, but there's several that they tell in Central and South America about the Thunderbird. Shall I share a little of it, or should we hold it for another time?
No, share it. Go ahead.
Okay. I won't stretch it out. I'll try not to be an elder. I'll talk too much.
Is it me that's breaking up, or is it you?
It was you when you were talking at the end, but now I'm not sure. Well, let's try. If I'm breaking up, tell me and we'll stop, and I'll put it for another time. Jenny says it's okay. All right, let's try. So, the teaching down there. Okay, so I'll sit again at a fire down in Belize, probably in Belmopan with some of my relatives and some of the young people, because they were the ones who would ask a lot about the different birds. The bird life in that part of the world is absolutely incredible. There are birds everywhere, of every sort, every color. And so Phoenix is respected for her ability to burn everything when the time comes. So Phoenix, as the elders would say, Phoenix flies high. Phoenix stays way up in the very top of the air and looks down. And if Phoenix sees something that's really gone wrong, Phoenix will come down and will burn it and will eliminate it. Phoenix's job is to purify things that have gone too wrong. And so over the generations, Phoenix would come when some group or some item or something is so far out of balance that it's threatening everything else on the planet. And Phoenix would come and burn it. But the story was also that Phoenix was getting ready for that day that the people knew was going to come, that we'd gone too far as a population, as two-leggeds, and that we would have to change. And the next Earth had to be everybody in equality, male and female being critical, young and old also being important, different cultures being important. And when that time came, when we no longer could wait for that to happen on its own, Phoenix's job was to fly down and start burning everything. So when that time came, which we're in now, Phoenix swooped down and started burning the things first that were the most distasteful, the most hate-filled. And things became clearer and clearer as that happened. Those who were carrying all that awful energy were coming and becoming visible, and Phoenix could see what to burn. Because Phoenix was not burning out of anger. Phoenix was burning because that's Phoenix's job. And so Phoenix would continue burning things. The people, the ceremonies, any religions that were not positive, and burn it, and burn it, and burn it. And then it would be the job of Thunderbird. Thunderbird was the partner bird to Phoenix. It was Thunderbird's job to pull things out the other side, to help all beings, humans and all others. There's Thunderbird. To bring it up out of the ashes, to start to deal with the ashes. And so the first thing Thunderbird did was bring in the rains. And when the rains would come heavy in Belize, and believe me, they can come heavy, and at length, the young ones were always told, no, this is good. This is Thunderbird practicing. So Thunderbird will be ready when the time comes to help put out those fires, to help soften the ash that's there, so we can then plant. So Thunderbird would come and bring the rains, lots and lots of rains. Rains everywhere, kind of like we're starting to see now. And those rains start to put out the heat. Thunderbird could also bring lightning. Thunderbird's eyes brought the lightning. And was lightning was what needed to see, when lightning was needed so we could see what else had to be done in the midst of all this darkness and rain that was putting out and smoke coming out of the old ash. That lightning would come, but it didn't cause problems. It just gave light. And it would come and come. And after a period of time, everything started to get softer. It was wetter. And as that rain started to dry out a bit, the land became fertile again. Between the ash and the rain, now the land was very fertile and we could plant it. We could start to plant the seeds for the new earth in the way we wanted to. But how do we do that? How do we know it's time? How do we know that Thunderbird said, okay, I've been watching, now I've been acting, now go ahead and plant? Well, some of the other animals started to reappear. Some of the parrots that had disappeared. The green parrots came first. And Thunderbird looked on them and said, yeah, the green parrots, this is good. Good, fly around, fly through the jungles. And then the bluebirds came. Lots and lots of bluebirds that hadn't been there. And Thunderbirds, yes, this is very good. You are in the top of the trees. You're in the second canopy. Because in the jungle you have the ground level and then you have top of the trees. It's like two totally different surface levels. And so the bluebirds took their spot in the top of the trees. And then the macaws came, mix of colors, yellows and reds, purples, a little bit of orange, some black. And the macaws sat again in the trees and started talking. Macaws are big talkers, big talkers. And these started to pull in some of the other animals. The howler monkeys were asked to come in and start making their noise, which was this sound you could hear all through the jungle. If you hear howler monkeys, you'd never forget them. But this was starting to tell all the creatures, okay, it's time. Thunderbird is feeling good now. It's time. But still they weren't quite sure everyone got the message. So Thunderbird flew a little bit higher. And Thunderbird, on its way by everybody, took a little bit of the green from the parrots, took a little bit of the red and the blue from the macaws, took a bunch of the blue from the bluebirds, took some of the black and the white from the ground animals, and took them all. And as Thunderbird came out of the rains and stopped making so much rains, put that color out everywhere so it could be seen. And that was the first global rainbow. And that was Thunderbird's job now, and Thunderbird was ready to go up high again. Where he and Phoenix would continue to fly to make sure everything stays in balance. Neither one is good or bad. Both has their job. And that's why now we're heading into that time of Thunderbird. So keep your colors clean and pure was the teaching. So you're ready to spread them out when those rainbows start to show. And thank you to my brother Pio. Haven't told that in a long time.
That was very beautiful, Jim. Thank you very much.
You bet. I enjoyed that. I went back to the jungle. It felt good. Whew.
Yes, you brought it to us. He brought it to us in the story. It was very beautiful. The spirit of all that you spoke of was here. I thank you for that.
Good. As it has been in all the stories tonight, and that's wonderful, and everything everyone's saying. I really, really feel like we've brought the animals in a big way. I'm feeling thank you from them. I don't know if anyone else is, but I sure am. So,
Oh, yes.
I think we're getting near that time. Who's taking us out? Chris, did you have something to unmute?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank. I wanted to say thank you to everybody this evening as well. The stories, the sharings, everything's been really wonderful. I've got a lot from this, so thank you for everybody, and thank you to our brothers and sisters in Pine Ridge, grandmothers, and all those who are participating in one way or another, even by listening. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Who would like to close it out? Who would like to participate and share their voice and their heart in this closing prayer? You guys got to quit fighting to see who's going to raise their hand first.
I know.
Christopher, go for it, man.
Okay, I'd just like to, once again, we'll close out this evening, giving thanks to the Mother and all the gifts and teachings and lessons she's brought us, to all the food, to the lands, to the waters, to the air, and to the fire. All these things that she's brought us, and the teachings that she's given to the animals to pass on to us. The gifts come from so many places in so many ways. May our ears be opened and our hearts to hear. May all that we need to guide us in a good way be brought through these teachings. And I thank all those who've contributed in one way or another. Thank you very much. And from the behalf of the Mother, she's asked me to say thank you as well. And she loves the way we're coming from the heart. Thank you for this from the Mother. Talking stick in the middle.
Thank you, Chris. And we're getting thanks from both groups who have been listening in, and we thank you right back. Actually, with everybody involved, it would not have been any kind of show except everybody stepped up. And I do love the way things just, if you let them go, they come together beautifully. So many of the things we said and the stories just flowed together as we did this. Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. And so Grandmother Jan, that's who Jerry and I got to meet earlier on. She was with Tom's group. She wants to know more about this animal initiative. I will be putting more up. I just haven't had enough time, and I apologize, but I will, because I would love to see it spread. I want to do my share here. I can't do it alone. Someday I'll be really wealthy. Yeah, right. Maybe another life. But I think it's really important we serve them right now as however we can. So I will definitely put it up. And boy, I welcome. If you want to be involved, I welcome your help. Maybe you do something like it up there. Okay. This was amazing. It was another, if this group gets any bigger, not sure how we'll do it, but that's all right. We don't have to worry. And Kai, thanks for the circle, powerful teaching and stories. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. What a beautiful circle. I will have an evening dealing with all of this. Thanks, everybody. We'll head out.
Good night, everyone. I love you
Later.
all.